This is the rear draft arm on a John Deere X380 riding mower, and it is supposed to be hanging from this bolt, but as maybe you can see here, the bottom half of this bolt has sheared off. So if I can get my camera to zoom and focus on the other side, that's what that should look like. Over on the right side there, you can see there's a little nut at the bottom and kind of this additional bracket piece that sits on the rod, and then that mates with the draft arm, and then when you push the foot pedal to lift and lower the deck and attach your deck and everything, it's all connected to this. I was going to swap out my deck for my snowplow for the winter and realized that I had just sort of been riding on the anti-scalping wheels on the deck, and it wasn't actually hanging from this because I don't know exactly when this broke. So I decided to make a video about how to replace the part and the parts you'll need after I figured out what I needed and went ahead and ordered them. Alright, so here are the parts you will need, and I will put the part numbers for this down in the description. That's going to be specific to the X380. I don't know if these are different on different tractors, but you can go to shop.deere.com and look up your model, and then they have nice kind of expandable part diagrams where you can click and visually look for a part if you know what it looks like, but you're not sure what it's called, as was the case for me because I had no idea what any of these things were called. So this is a countersunk screw. You notice how it sort of has that, or countersunk bolt. And again, I'll put the actual exact names and part numbers down in the description. You see how it has that kind of countersunk head to it because that is what sits. Oops, I'm not going to be able to get that to focus very well. There we go. Sits up there and kind of allows this to slide around and rotate a bit. We have a hexagonal lock nut, a countersunk washer that did not come with my mower. The bolt is just sitting up in there, but I saw a comment from someone on Reddit who said, I guess a dealer or somebody who does maintenance, he always installs these washers. They do come on the newer mowers, but mine is maybe 7 years old. It didn't originally have this part, so that helps reduce wear there. And then I forget what this thing is called, so I have to pause my video to look at my email and see what this thing is called. This kind of funny looking part here is the adjustable lift link, and that is the one kind of unique part that if you were thinking about just going to a hardware store and buying parts to do this yourself, looks like a thing you probably wouldn't be able to find at a normal hardware store and would need to order from John Deere, but if I'm wrong about that and that's something you can go get at a hardware store, let me know. Okay, let's go over to the other side and take a look at how this is all supposed to be assembled. Okay, so here we are on the side that isn't broken, and again, you can see that countersunk bolt is sort of coming down through a hole in the frame, and then the lock nut is on the threaded part of the bolt on there, and this adjustable lift link thing kind of has that little tab that sticks out that goes into the draft arm. So I'm going to go back over to the other side. So looking at the adjustable lift link, you can see how it sort of has this asymmetric oblong oval shaped tab sort of thing here that is going to fit through that hole in the draft arm and then rotate 90 degrees and then go up there, and ideally we'll be able to push the bolt down through that and put the lock nut on the end. So step one, doing my best to film this, I've got the bolt with the countersunk washer on there. Can't really see, but you kind of have room to reach up into the frame to then drop that bolt down. And then let's see if I can film this all with one hand. Should have gotten a tripod, but I didn't bother. I've got the adjustable lift link already attached to the draft arm there. And as I kind of lift that up, that is going to slide onto the bolt. And I'm going to need to put my phone down to film this, but then I'm going to screw that adjustable lock nut on there and just kind of eyeball it based on the height on the other side. You can see maybe there's a ½ inch of threads exposed at the bottom. But I do have a little more height added from the washer now. Again, my tractor did not come with those washers, so I'm going to adjust to compensate for the washers so my two draft arms are at the same height. I'm actually going to add a washer to the other side. I bought two since it didn't come with one, and then I should be good to go. Something I should have mentioned first, you'll need an Allen wrench for the head of this countersunk bolt, and it's going to be a little awkward to reach up there. It looks like I can. Yeah, again, this is hard to film since it's kind of up in that nook up there, but I can fit an Allen wrench up there to hold that bolt in place from the head, and then I'm going to use a ratchet or a crescent wrench to tighten the nut from the bottom. Again, not going to film that because I didn't bother with a tripod, but you're going to need two hands. You can't just tighten from the bottom or else the whole bolt's going to spin. You need to use the Allen wrench to hold it in place at the top. And I probably should have filmed this before I put the new one in, but here is the old bolt where you can see kind of decent amount of wear around the bottom of the head there without the washer. So hopefully, now that I have the washer on the new one, the wear on the new bolt won't be as bad. Although again, that wasn't the failure point. I was kind of abusing my tractor and using it as more of a brush hog, which it really isn't designed for because it's just supposed to be a lawnmower. I got the deck stuck on a small tree stump, so I'm guessing that's when this broke, when I was trying to get it off of there. So even with the wear, it doesn't seem like that was, again, the failure point on the old bolt, but somebody online recommended it and the washers were cheap, so I figured it did not hurt to add them. And while we're down here, back on the other side, since I took this one off to add the washer, just another note on something to watch out for. I am seeing a lot of wear on the tab on this adjustable lift link. Again, I don't know how well, it's kind of hard to get the camera in here and to focus and see kind of inside, but you can see how there's a lot of wear where this is rubbing against the lift arm, and I guess I worry that eventually, you know, if that rubs down too much, then this tab could just slip through that hole and the lift arm would fall down. So that's another thing to watch out for. In terms of a potential first failure point, you've got the wearing on the head of the bolt, kind of the stress concentration right around where the threads on the bolt start, which is very close to the top of the lift arm, and then you've got the wear here as well. But pretty simple to replace. You just need a ratchet and an Allen wrench and the right parts. So if you have a comment or a suggestion, go ahead and let us know below this video. Thank you.